Well, hi there. It's Dawn, and I'm back. I didn't think that I would be doing a video quite this quickly, but oh my gosh, last night when I finished it, let it sit there, dreamt about it all night, silly doing things late at night. But anyway, thought, nah, I have to change a couple of things that I did with you in my last video. So the first thing was I altered the size of the tablecloth. Too big. I just needed to tame it down a little bit. Happy with a bit of weight at the bottom, but wanted a bit more light here. The biggest change that I made, pointing finger, was here. And this is the centre. And, after all my carry-on about, the rule of thirds and all of those silly things, I then promptly put something in the centre. Sorry, I'm moving you around because I just want to get you in the rightest place. Rightest? I don't know if that's a word. Anyway, I'm not going for a centre display. I want to go for that third thing. And I deliberated over all of the different fabrics. And then I found this one. And I quite liked this little frame here and thought, that could hang on a wall. I still really wanted to use that. I wanted a little bit of stripe to sort of add to this stripe. So I added a bit there. There's my other little bit over there. The blue is kind of matching this blue. I've still got things that overlap where the frame, so I need to still cut this like across there so that it, folds over and becomes part of it. So I added extra damask in all of the squares. I might tell you, a bit of disclosure, I'd stitched this one while I was, waiting for things to upload. I thought, I'll stitch it. Lovely. It looks great when it's stitched down. Just not happy with the design. So, I reckon I'm close to being happy with it. It's taken me, I might tell you, it's taken me all afternoon. It's not all day because I was busy this morning. And I've added a little bit of extra of that over there to support that little bit there. Those bits just to support the colourway. A little bit of blue. Kind of all from the same fabrics. So I think now I'm a bit happier with it. I wish I could get you up high enough to, show you it in its entirety, but I can't. I'm having to play with it. And I'm sorry about the previous video. When I talk like this, I don't know what happens to my voice. It does some weird things. So it's probably where I move from one side of the camera to the other where the microphone is. All right. I just wanted to come back and tell you about that. I'm going to keep on playing for a minute, and when I've got it all pinned down, I'll come back and show you again. But I'm okay with this little bit of playing here. The reason being, that's where my, intersection will be, and there'll probably be some big thing here. And so it'll be okay that there's not a print there, because then I'm hoping it'll go out that way. Big hand. All right, I'm going to be back in a second. Okay, good. So did I say okay, good? Might have started talking before the video went on. Anyway, I've taken a photo and way happier with this sort of placement. So I'm now ready to go back to the stitching side of things. So what I did in these junctions here was folded over that edge, so I knew that I had to go to there. I'm going to just start with this one. It's the easiest one. My recommendation to you, if you were doing something as crazy as this, keep checking. Stitch one down, go back, make sure everything lines up. In particular, if you've got lines, they probably need to match up if you're going down the same trail that I'm going down. And so what I'm just doing now is just going to trim off the bits that I don't need. I'm going to pin it down, and what I did last night, rushing ahead, I said, I'm not going to stitch, I'm going to look at it. No, just do something completely different to what I told you I was going to do. So I'm going to just put all these safely over here, I hope. I'm going to go back to this and go back to those black lines that I drew. Some of them don't match up amazingly well, and that's where I'm saying check, check, check. Keep going back and checking that you do have things lined up and it's going to work. I'm just going to move that one over to the same edge as this one is. It's just not straight on the bottom here. Can you see? No. Can you see? So I'm just lining this one up and making sure I know that I don't have to go exactly to those black lines, but I want to go close. And so I'm just going to trim off any daggy bits, any bits of threads that are hanging around that are just going to be in the way. Yeah, so what a it's one of those things that I went to bed and I kept dreaming about it. And I kept thinking about that very dark area that I had in the middle. And no, I wasn't dreaming about it, I was just thinking about it really. And I thought, no, I have to fix that. And I got up this morning and took one look at it and went, what was I thinking? Were you doing the same? Were you going, what is she doing? She's a crazy woman. I don't mind having a little bit of chaos. I don't mind the busy background, and then I'm going to do something over the top of it. I've got, I think my colourway reasonably sorted, and so that's all right. But when I saw that dark area that I'd added to the middle, I was like, yeah, no, that's the one that has to get changed. So, sorry, I'm reaching over you. Again, my apologies for the fan. Another pretty warm day here in Victoria. Not stinking hot, but hot enough to need some air moving around. So what I actually did here was a bit like needle turn. I want the tablecloth to look like it's sitting on top of everything. So when I finished just doing a basic stitch down, I was so happy with the fact that, it all sat flat and it looked really good on the canvas. And, I was really happy with that bit until I looked at it this morning and went, oh my goodness, I'm not happy with the actual layout of the fabric. This is, I think the girls might have alluded to the fact that this was going to challenge us, and boy oh boy, it certainly has. And I think the difference is that we're thinking it might hang on the wall in a journal on the bookshelf, you know, in little bits. It's not probably as dramatic as what it is when you've got it hanging on your wall. I don't know where I'm going to hang it. I'm kind of thinking my bedroom. I don't have, in my art room here, I've taken up almost every bit of wall space with lots of my other stuff. And I have one piece of, I have, you know, back in the day, I was a cross stitcher, embroiderer. I have bits framed that I still really like. You know, they're part of our decor, and they were framed accordingly, and I still quite like them. I don't want to get rid of them, but it just reduces the opportunity for hanging something else. Willie and I were having a chat on the phone today, and we were like, oh well, I was, not she. She's got somewhere that she's thinking that she's gonna put her bit. And I said to her, I don't know where I'm going to hang it, but maybe I have to take something else down and give it a rest. You know, it's been hanging there for a while, well, certainly since we've moved here, but it's kind of in a similar place, you know. The thing that I had in my bedroom in the previous house is still hanging in my bedroom in this house. So, yeah. I'm happier with that proportion. Like this one I did, and it was like, you know, the tablecloth was up here and I had a little bit here, and I was like, oh my gosh. On its own, I was struggling with it. Cool. All right, so here I am. I'll chat to you for a bit while I'm doing it. What I did last night, and I'm going to go back and do the same thing. Sorry. One thing that I notice is that I talk as slow as I stitch. I'm really sorry. I don't know why, but I just don't talk fast. And I think some of that is about when I'm trying to work out what to do. And I think that's my biggest problem. I don't know what I'm doing, so then I talk slow because I'm concentrating on that and you at the same time. So I'm sorry if I talk slow. Cool. All right, so I'm doing this now. I'm not sure when I'll post it. It might be today's Thursday afternoon. Tomorrow we're going to chuff off to Melbourne and stay the night with some friends. I'm going to go and visit my lovely friend who's in hospital, going through, pardon my French, a bit of a crap time. And so she's needing quite a intense protocol of treatment. And this is her second bout of it. And the first one was pre-COVID, and we're back with her doing that. And, you know, the worst thing is now I used to live 20 minutes away and now I live an hour and a half away. And, you know, it's nice to visit if you can when you've got a friend going through a hard time. So, yeah, so anyway, that's tomorrow. So I thought, and for the weekend, well, we're going to stay with other friends for the weekend. So all I'm doing is doing this like overcast stitch with the same colour thread. And last night when I did that, it looked quite all right. This is going to be what is down the edge of the frame. You know, it's going to be of the canvas. It's going to be there. So you're actually not going to see some of that thread. You know, I might go back and rehash it. I don't really know, but I don't actually think it's maybe going to need it. So long as it stays together, that's really the main thing. And that's why I thought if I just do this little overcast stitch here, that will hold the material that's my design to the base fabric, and I'm just using calico for that. I thought about doing it padded and decided against it. when I saw how nice it looked just flat, and I pinned it up to the, no, I did everything, pinned it onto the canvas, and I thought, oh, that looks fantastic. And then I thought, I'll just start a second one, might as well. Oh, went to bed at silly o'clock. Shouldn't have, because this morning I was up bright and early unpicking everything, because I was like, what on earth was I thinking? It doesn't really look right. Quite big stitches, but my biggest concern is that this is a raw edge here, and if I don't go in far enough, it's likely to fray. And I might do another stitch over it to just help disguise it. I don't really know, but I think once it's on the canvas, you probably won't see it as much. And it's handmade. It's not professionally framed. Well, I'm not going to get it professionally framed. You might want to get yours professionally framed, in which case it might look very different to mine. But all I want to do is get the fabric down, because I think once we begin the actual still life, I saw an unusual picture of something that was called Life Stilled. Just a slightly different interpretation. Anyway, still life. We all call it still life. It still is still life. But once we start putting those bits on, it's going to change the look of it, and then I guess I can work out if I need to put something different down the side. But I think once it's attached to the canvas, I'm just, probably coming in 1/4 of an inch, not gigantic. And because I'm sticking with the same colour, I'm just using just a poly cotton, not anything. Just happen to be the same colour, well, matching colour anyway. Yeah, so I don't really think you're going to see it really once it's down, and that possibly might happen for you when you get to if you're doing a bigger one. But I suspect that this will still just slightly curve around. I have checked it. I know that I did those black lines a little bit deeper than I needed, so that maybe they would go around. So I'm still reasonably confident. I've had a double check. I just had to go and sort something out, and that's all right. I'm back, but I did finish that. What I was saying was that I've doubly checked that this is going to wrap around the edge of the canvas, so I'm reasonably confident. I've continued to stitch, so I've stitched this piece down here. I'm just finishing off this one here, and I just thought I'd better come and apologise for stopping in mid-sentence, but sometimes just life happens. And yeah, that was what happened then. Cool. I actually, not helps. I was just checking some veggies in my garden, see whether or not the corn was okay, but no, it wasn't. We're having a sort of a oven bake, and I thought some corn would be nice to add, but it's not quite ready. I was a bit too anxious. The zucchinis are going great. We've got heaps. Picked our very, very, very first tomato yesterday. That was cool. Lots of basil in the garden. Yep, lots of herbs. Anyway, that was just aside to the fact that I'm just doing this little overcast stitch in a matching thread. you know, down the track, as we progress through this whole project, it might need a little bit of extra embellishment. I don't know. As I said, I'm not trying to preempt too much in advance, other than knowing that I've got areas on my background that I think some pieces will fit some of what their suggestions might be, and I really want to just go with that. I don't want to presume that we're all going to do a vase of flowers. We might all do a vase of flowers. We might not. So I just thought I'm just going to go with the background. If I end up covering something or it needs a bit more work down the track, I'll worry about that then. Like I said, when I was laying out those other bits, I was happy with some space that I'd left, because I thought I tried, I fiddled around with it, I took the fabric on and off so many times I nearly drove myself silly, and in the end thought, no, I need to leave it off, because just maybe something else will cover it. When I couldn't resolve it, I decided that, yeah, I just needed to stop, get over it, just leave it for now, and then see what happens. So yeah, that's me. All right, I'm nearly at the end of this. I think maybe what I started to say before was that being away for the weekend and maybe not getting back to this, maybe Monday, I don't really know, but I thought if I just do this little supplement for my background, I'm certainly not going to have it all stitched. I'm probably only going to do this one and that's all. And maybe add this video, because I don't know when I'm going to get back to you. I've got a few other jobs to do, a few other projects that I'd like to get started. I really want to start the Gosling quilt, because I think having something to take away that I can just hold on my knee, this is probably not one that's going to be a project to maybe take away. I think it might, need to be done at a table. Don't know. All right. Anyway, so just wanted to add, from a distance, you can't see those stitches. If you want to get under the microscope, yeah, you can see them. I don't think anyone's going to look at it that close. I probably won't. While I'm looking at it even here on the table, just, an arm's length away, those stitches are barely visible, even though they're fairly decent. But like I said, I want to make them decent because there's a lot of, these ones are linen, this one's a cotton print. I'm really concerned that if I don't have it well set, it's going to fray. All right, let me do this little bit here just to show you my thoughts about that. I've just picked a thread that's kind of similar in colour. Hopefully it'll do a disappearing act. I started to do that creamy colour down the bottom here, and you could see that, so I stopped and thought it's a little bit visible there, but not as bad as it was along here. So I thought, no, I'll just stop there and use this more neutral colour. Good. Don't know that I even stopped to say, are you okay? I hope you're okay. I think it's always important to ask people if they're okay. And it's okay to say if you're not. And maybe somebody out there might be able to support you with whatever that is. I'm just very aware of checking in with people and making sure that they're okay. And if they're not, what can we do to support you? I've messaged my lovely friend in hospital and she's up for a visitor tomorrow, so that's really good because, needed to do a double check on that one. And she is, so that's good. All right, so I'm doing a little stitch there and then I'm coming into the fold. So I'm just picking up something in the fold there. It's not needle turn because I'm not doing the whole needle pushing in and all of that sort of stuff. But maybe an invisible hem, that kind of a stitch, so that once it's done, you're not going to see it. And that was my thought about that. I didn't want it to be a major focus. I just wanted it to be there, but I wanted it to have a bit of dimension so that it wasn't sitting like flat, as if it was a table in front of a wall. Done a fair bit of research looking at ideas for how I might want it to look. And there are a couple of artists that I really like. One is Henri Matisse, and he certainly was, more modern. Although he lived a long time ago, he certainly had a modern outlook. But much of it's flat. And I actually thought, as something that might influence this, it might be good, because rather than try to do something dimensional and realistic, I don't think that's probably where I'm headed with this. So his interpretation of flowers, he has a really chaotic background. Same with Gustav Klimt. I love his work, but I'm not going to add all the metallics that he does. And he doesn't do still life, he does life stilled, which is where I picked up that little bit of a saying. So he tends to do more figures, people. But there's lots out there, just have a look, have a Google. That's what I did. Have a look on Pinterest. Just get, tangled up in the vortex of Pinterest and come out the other end, and it's a few hours later. So that tends to be my morning coffee, sort of have a look around and see what inspires me. And then I put it away. I have a look and I think, okay, some of those ideas might work, and now I'm not going to look at it anymore, because if you keep looking at it, you're never going to reproduce it. So there's no point. I think it's okay to be inspired or influenced, but it doesn't need to be me trying to reproduce anything that someone before me, and certainly a recognised artist. I don't think that I could ever think that I would reproduce something. Cool. All right, nearly there. So hopefully you can see what I've done here. I'm about ready to stop this video properly this time. Say hooroo, and hope, number one, that you're doing good, but that you're enjoying the process. So much happier with that layout. Oh my goodness, I know that it doesn't look like very much at the minute, but just the proportion of it and how it's sitting on that one panel, because this will be one panel and it might just sit sometimes by itself. I don't know how my four are going to work together, whether or not they'll be okay managing on their own, or whether they're going to always have to hang together and for it to make sense. But right now, I'm kind of hoping that they'll be okay separated. Not, one wall to another, but they don't need to be right jammed up against each other. Cool. All right. Take care. Stay safe. Lots of world things going on at the minute. I'm noticing horrible fires overseas, and we're all good at the minute. And I'm hoping that you're good and that you stay safe. Okay, take care. Maybe talk to you next week. See you later. Bye.